Comicus. Here we are. We're going to be talking about comic books, and I'm going to show you what those books are right now. Hey JP, good to see you again. We have Rasputin, issue 1 from Dark Horse Comics. We have Batman 800. That's right, the 800th issue of Batman. Okay? I mean, just think about that for a second. That's insane. That's utterly insane. No matter how popular a character is, that's an insane milestone that very few characters can enjoy, because keep in mind, Batman started in like 1938 when Bob Kane created it. Babyteeth, issue 6. That's right, a cute little baby with cuddling up to a cute little demon. And our final book that we're looking at today is Dark Knight's Batman Who Laughs. Part of Metal! Okay, everybody. So we're going to take a look at these books now. First up, we're going to take a look at Rasputin, The Voice of the Dragon, number 1 of 5. Rasputin's an interesting cat because he's real. He actually existed. He was also known as the Mad Monk, and you'll love this. If you don't know this, this is great because it's true. He was beaten. He was poisoned. He was stabbed. And the final thing that killed him was drowning him. It was as if he wasn't human. It's crazy. Like, you're gonna look up the story of Rasputin. That's why he was used in Hellboy as, you know, a very dangerous and powerful, almost like a sorcerer. This is all about the Third Reich finding out that he was alive and hunting him down and finding him. At least that's what you think it's going to be about, because that's the first 4 or 5 pages. The issue I have with Rasputin, issue 1, is most of it is Professor Broom, a younger Professor Broom, a friend of his, and them looking into paranormal activity that is involving the god Ra, R-A. And I just felt a little disappointed because I really thought it would get more into Rasputin, you know, maybe how he rose to power and everything like that. And it might do that via flashbacks or something. But I mean, it starts out years after, you know, everyone thought he was dead, with a member of the Third Reich finding him. So I guess we're going to say late 30s, early 40s. I forget if it actually gave a year. Probably late 30s is my guess. Like 38, 39 or something. Yeah, I mean, it's good, but it wasn't quite what I expected, you know, and I don't know if I feel the urge to check out the other 4 issues. I honestly don't know. So, next up, we are looking at, let's do a heavy hitter. Let's do something really heavy. Batman. Now, technically, it's issue 35 of the Rebirth DC line, but it's issue 800. The 800th issue of Batman. It's good. Let me put it this way. For an 800th issue, I kind of would have expected something a bit more epic, and one of the problems could be that DC puts out Batman every 2 weeks. Every 2 weeks, and it's been pretty much without fail. And it's been a very strong book. As a whole, it's a very strong book. Well, recently, Batman decided he was going to marry Catwoman, okay? But he decided as a courtesy, he would go to Talia al Ghul, his ex, with Catwoman, and explain that he is engaged. And as you might guess, things don't go well. Talia al Ghul does not think that Catwoman is worthy of him. They fight, a very insane fight, very violent and crazy. It's this really cool back and forth between, like, how Talia's like, my father put a sword in my hand and hit me with the back of his other hand, and then would fight me. And then once I would die in the fights with father, he would throw me into the Lazarus pit and bring me back again to fight some more. Which is so dark and so screwed up. You're like, oh my God, you know? Just constantly re-killing his daughter and fighting her again so she gets better and doesn't make the same mistakes fighting. That's insane. Well, Catwoman turns his back on Talia, and she's like, I never knew my father. You know, I've seen a sword once or twice here or there. And then she picks up the sword and starts kicking ass. And that was just really funny. And you also have Damian Wayne and Nightwing talking about Bruce and the marriage that's about to happen soon. And their reaction to it. And so we go back and forth between these two fighting. Talia and Catwoman fighting. And them talking, and Batman just sort of being like, oh, geez. Because Batman doesn't really want to get in the middle of it, and he's been asked not to, and he's kind of there just like a spectator, which is really bizarre in the 800th issue of Batman, you know? One thing I really did like, though, is the idea that Batman wants to be happy. The reason he wants to get married... And the reason he wants to, you know, make this huge life change is he wants happiness. And his son Damian asks him, are you happy, father? And he goes, no, but I'm getting there. So that's pretty interesting. Again, 800th issue of Batman. It's a huge milestone, but technically that milestone started, I'd say roughly about 8 to 10 issues ago, maybe longer than that, when he decided to pop the question to Selina Kyle. So... okay, so that's Batman 800. Next up, we're going to look at Babyteeth, issue 6. Babyteeth is about a young baby named Clark. The mother, a huge comic book fan. Okay? And basically, she gives birth to the Antichrist. But she believes that herself and her family can raise the child correctly. And that even though he has these abilities, like when he cries, he can actually make people start to bleed. And it's very frightening what he's able to do. It's really creepy and bizarre. And her belief is that the family and the people around raising him, that they'll be able to make him a good baby, a good child, a good adult. That she can fight against the inner part of him that is infernal, I guess we could say, infernal. I've liked this book very much. Issue 6 was very good. There's this great homage to the Twilight Zone where the gremlin is on the wing of the airplane. There's this great moment where this cute little demon thing here, right here, is actually on the wing. And the mother goes and looks out the window and sees it. And at first she's like, am I really seeing this? And then something happens and then it's gone. But I think the sister did see it. I think that she does show it to her sister. And a Warlock character, I believe he showed up in the last issue, he's trying to help them and get them to a refuge. Okay? And the refuge is a place called The Way. And you find out that it was created and made for Clark. A place for him to be raised. A place for him to be safe. And it asks a lot of questions. Where do they get their funding from? How is this all happening? Is he good? He is a warlock. Is he actually good? Are the members of the Way good? What is going on here? And then, when they're there, a shocking character that we've heard mention of in previous issues shows up. And it's pretty much a mind-blowing moment. And one of the final scenes is actually the father of the wolf. I believe the name Young Wolf was her name. The bounty hunter. Her father, who's also a bounty hunter and trained her, he's basically activated. And he's not happy about it. And he kills the messengers. He literally kills the messengers. And he gets on a helicopter to go and hunt down Clark. I like this book a lot, like I just said. It's really good. It's one of the best horror books, I think, right now. There are elements that are derivative. Hey, VCR still works. How you doing? Well, thank you, VCR. I had to feel how I could phrase that in relation to Comicus. But yeah, I'm really impressed. It's a really good horror comic book. Even though it started out extremely derivative, they have some really neat ideas that have shown up in the last few issues, and I think it's really solid. I like it a lot. So, that brings us to our final book of the evening, and this was a book a lot of people have waited a long time for. A lot of people were really speculating on this and what was going on, and it's very good. I don't think it could reach the amount of hype that it got, but it's still very good. Dark Knight's Batman Who Laughs. Now, if you look at the picture, it's like Batman, but more like the Joker, and he seems to have an army of vampire Robins. So let's explain what's going on here. There is a almost demonic version of Batman from another version of Earth, part of the multiverse, named Babyteeth. And Babyteeth has, like, his right-hand man, and he's been whispering to different Batmans in different multiverses about the darkness and basically bringing them together. It's almost like his job to bring them together for this ultimate battle between good versus evil, also known as the Battle of the Bird and the Bat. Which is interesting because it brings in connotations of the Court of Owls and everything. I mean, Scott Snyder, one of the best Batman writers, I think, in the last 20 years. He's fantastic. This is a project he's been working on for a long time, and it brings in a lot of awesome, disparate elements from the DC Universe together. Anyway, the Batman Who Laughs is Batman from Earth 22. So, he's fighting the Joker, and this time the Joker has gone all out. He's actually completely destroyed Gotham City, except for a few people. And he talks about basically torturing Jim Gordon, and a part where Jim's jaw melts off. And it's so dark and so crazy, you're like, wow, even for the Joker, this is intense. Well, Batman has had enough. And Batman basically breaks his neck. He kills the Joker. What happens, you find out, is the Joker created almost a failsafe. A viral failsafe. And if anyone were to kill him, and he definitely thought it might be the Batman, if anyone killed him, the person in close proximity right near him would be infected by the virus and be turned into the Joker. His mind would be warped, and that person was Batman. So the neat thing about this is, it's not exactly the Joker, it's the brilliant mind of Batman, but all dark. All evil, all monstrous. And there's a scene where he seems like he's in trouble, and he calls Barbara and Damian and Dick Grayson to the Batcave, and he all of a sudden, out of his cape, pulls out two semi-automatic machine guns and kills all of them instantly. Just pulls out the guns and kills them. And it's this really dark, crazy thing. When the Joker was trying to destroy Gotham, nearly destroyed it all, there was basically a whole mess of group of kids and everything, like, that were victims of his, because basically the Joker recreates the moment where Bruce's parents are killed, and he does this a number of times, like, to affect Bruce. So this Joker has to know that Bruce is Batman, I'm guessing. I'm still trying to figure that one out, because it's not, I don't think it's stated exactly. So there's these kids around. The kids look like the Joker. Those are actually his, like, minions. These children. So that's where they come from. That's how that works. And my favorite part is honestly the final line, and where he goes, "The Batman who laughs is the Batman that wins," which I think is really interesting. Batman's not a very jovial character, and the idea here is that with elements of the Joker, maybe not all the truly evil ones, but maybe the jocularity and things like that, that maybe Batman would be better, maybe. It's an interesting question, you know? And I don't know if I fully agree with that, but it's an interesting take for the Batman who laughs. And then also to think that what he is now is better than he was before is an interesting way for Bruce to look at things. But yeah, I liked it very much. I thought the Batman who laughs was really good. Okay, everybody, that is the final book for Comicus this evening. So now we just have to find out who gets to keep its bag and board. Or not who. I guess what? Because it's a comic book. Well, which book gets to keep its bag and board, and which lose their bags and boards, which are just jettisoned off of them. Let's find out right now. Okay, so first up, we are going to be looking at, in no particular order, Rasputin, well, except for the final one, that's the winner. Rasputin, number 1 of 5. Again, not enough Rasputin for me. I liked it, but it just didn't scratch a certain itch, and I didn't think there'd be quite as much of Professor Broom. I figured he might be in it, but I didn't think there'd be quite as much of him, and I don't know, I just don't feel the urge to continue with it, and it was extremely verbose, and that's not a bad thing, you know, but it actually started to get a little bit boring and very, I don't know, it's like not enough information was given, even though they were giving a flood of information, if that makes any sense. I just think they could have done it in a different way. Yes, Maniac. Yeah, I mentioned that earlier. Rasputin was actually, the most crazy thing about him is, yes, the whole magic thing, or the occult thing he was into, as well as he was, let's see if I can remember this now, he was beaten, poisoned, stabbed, and then drowned. And drowning is finally what killed him. Yeah, that is pretty crazy. It's pretty insane. But, Rasputin, I strip you of your bag and board, and I toss you into the broken down ruin where the dude from the Third Reich found you. Okay, next up we have Babyteeth, number 6. Again, I really like this book. It's a really solid, it's a really strong book. But depending on the week, there's sometimes books that are going to come out that are even stronger. So I'm not saying this is bad, I'm just saying it wasn't quite the winner of Comicus. So, I strip Babyteeth of its bag and board. And I toss it onto the wing of the airplane where the demon was hiding. You'll have to see this whole thing for that to make sense, otherwise. Next up, Batman 800. Good. It's good. But again, it's the 800th issue. And it just felt not as amazingly special as perhaps the 800th issue of Batman should feel. And again, I think it's possibly down to the fact that the book comes out twice a month. Every 2 weeks. So that might be difficult to have figured out something like, you know, ending the original story arc that this was in, and then having something new start, or like a one-shot that's a 1/800th issue type of thing, that'd be pretty difficult. Yes, Maniac. The actual issue of Babyteeth actually has a homage to the Twilight Zone. And also, that's not just the movie. The original Twilight Zone series had a half-hour episode with a gremlin on the plane, too. But yeah, very good. And some really cool dialogue between Talia al Ghul and Selina Kyle, also known as Catwoman. And the idea that Batman, you know, isn't happy, but he's getting there is neat. But again, just not the winner of Comicus this week. I stripped Batman 800 of its bag and board. Technically, again, Batman 35 of Rebirth, to make more sense to everybody. And I tossed Batman to Nanda Parbat, which is, I believe, where they went to see Talia. I think she's still located there. They kind of did a little bit of a break as to what was going on with this and covered different things in Batman, and so I'm pretty sure that was the location. So that's where I tossed the book. And finally, the winner of Comicus this evening is Dark Knight's Batman Who Laughs. I've said this before, I'll say it again. Metal is an excellent storyline. Metal, I truly think, is one of the best comic book story arcs I've read in years. I've loved it. And of all the Batmen, there are one or two that I thought weren't as good, of these one-shots anyway, that I didn't think were at the same level. Like Batman the Drowned, which is a version based on Aquaman, I thought was okay. I didn't think it was that good. And that'd probably be the one I dislike the most, I'd say, of them. This one is pretty wild. I like this one. It's dark and it's kind of frightening. It's kind of a little bit of what I thought he would be, although in most of them, it's Batman basically doing something terrible and evil, and one could question Batman killing the Joker as being terrible and evil, with all the terrible, awful things the Joker has done. Yeah, there's this insane moment in here, too, which I actually forgot to mention. I'll mention it right now. Batman is there talking to Superman, and Superman's son and Lois are there, and young John, his son, and Superman's eyes are bleeding, or not bleeding, it's more like a darkness coming off their eyes, almost like tears of the blackened tears or something, I think it looks like, based on what I saw in the book. And you find out that during this conversation, Batman had a piece of black kryptonite. Oh, the Batman Who Laughs did. And basically, he talks about how black kryptonite caused Supergirl to tear her family apart, as he said. And they cut away, and you hear Clark screaming for Lois and his son to get away, that they need to get away. And all of a sudden, you just hear screams from Lois, and I believe young John. And your imagination goes wild, thinking like, oh my God, Superman just slaughtered his family. Again, that has to do with alternate reality, not realities, multiverse, the multiverse. But yeah, that's really an interesting moment in here that really kind of, to me, made it the winner this evening. So, I do not strip Batman Who Laughs of its bag and board. I ascend it into the heavens where it becomes a star. Oh, my God. It's so crazy. I can't see his entire face. Oh, black kryptonite. Look what he did to Superman. Oh, he's such a star. Everybody, I want to thank you very much for watching Comicus. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you very much. I needed to do There's a star sequence at the end of each Comicus, and I have to come up with something different for each one. And I needed something that had the madness of the Batman who laughs and the Joker there. So that's what I was doing there. I hope if I freaked you out, I'm sorry. But I want to thank you all very much. Comicus will happen again, 10 p.m. Central, next Wednesday. 4 different books. You know, because they won't be the same ones coming out next week that came out today. What I'm really looking forward to is possibly, unless I'm wrong about this, Doomsday Clock might be coming out. That is the beginning of the insane 12-issue story arc involving Dr. Manhattan and possibly how he created the entire Rebirth storyline. It started with the button, and it's going to Doomsday Clock. So I'm really looking forward to that, and I'm pretty sure it comes out next Wednesday. If it's not next Wednesday, it's the Wednesday after. So whenever it comes out, that's something we will definitely be reviewing. I want to thank you all for watching very, very much. And even though I believe next week is Thanksgiving, there will still be a Comicus next Wednesday. It will still happen at 10 p.m. Central. So honestly, thank you all very much. If you're watching this on Twitch, feel free to follow. If you're watching this on YouTube, feel free to sub or like it, whatever. It's really cool. But yeah, thank you all very much. Maniac, VCR, J Povin 1215, thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.